I'm Harley. So tonight on Harley's Sleepytime Cinema Selection, I promised to talk to you about a movie that, very much like The Good Son, I have not really watched since I've had children. Now, this movie is not one that I own, even though I love it. It is one that I watched a lot before I had kids, and once it was re-released on DVD and Blu-ray, I haven't made the effort to go get it. The movie is the wonderful The Mist. Now, this movie is adapted from a short story by Stephen King, who is a very talented writer. I've read many of his books. I read this story, so I do know that the story plays very closely to the movie, but the movie makes one severe left turn towards the end that is not in the original story. And actually, the director of the 2009 version, his name is Frank Darabont. He actually went through 3 studios before he got Dimension Films to back him, because he was very adamant that he knew how he wanted this film to end, that he knew the direction he wanted to take the story at the end. Because the end of the short story is very kind of ambiguous. There's not really any conclusion. It's just kind of father and son are left to wander about. And he did not feel comfortable with that ending, and decided that it needed to have a specific end. And to those means, Dimension Films did agree. Frank Darabont had to take a very severe pay cut to make it happen, because they were very reluctant to film it the way he wanted to film it. Now, to give you some history of Frank Darabont, he is responsible for adapting the Walking Dead comics to TV. And The Mist stars 7 people who have gone on to be on The Walking Dead and make appearances, either small cameos or big roles. For example, this was the catalyst role for Melissa McBride, who plays Carol. She, in The Mist, really doesn't have a character name. She's only known as the woman with children. Her total screen time is about 10 minutes, if that. And her role, though, was so stunning. She's said to have stolen the scene and really made an impression on everyone who worked with her, and has gone on to use that to just make leaps and bounds with her career, and really to be what Carol is now. It also stars Thomas Jane as David Drayton, Nathan Gamble as Billy Drayton, his son, and Laurie Holden as Amanda, and then Marcia Harden, who plays a religious fanatic. The movie basically is about a family who are vacationing at their summer home. They need to run to the store to get some groceries, and father and son decide to go together. Mom stays home, and while they are at the grocery store, a very unusual fog rolls across the town. While they're in the store, very strange things start to occur, and at some point someone runs in saying that there's monsters in the mist. They go to investigate and find that indeed there are very strange things in the mist. And it's kind of the story of how all of this unfolds. Like, how do you deal with being stuck away from home in a crisis with people you don't know? How do you go from there? How do you proceed? What's your next step? How long is this going to last? What provisions do you need to make? What kind of deals do you need to make with the people around you? Because very quickly, society's morals can fall apart, as we've seen over and over again in many different movies and shows. Also, people who make an appearance, Sam Witwer, he plays Private Jessup in this, and he's best known for playing Adrian on Being Human. And he's also, as I found out while I was researching for this movie, he voices Emperor Palpatine quite frequently in the Star Wars video games, and occasionally Darth Maul also. And something else I found out, the director wanted this film originally shot in black and white, and he was overridden. Like, they gave him a lot of concessions with the movie, and they said this was the one thing that they just didn't see it being effective in the overall storytelling, and they thought it would take away from its theatrical release. So they pushed for it to be in color, but in the DVD Blu-ray version, there's an extra disc, the film noir disc, where you can see Frank, what's his name? I keep losing it. Darabont's original vision of the movie in black and white. I guess this is really a thing. Like, I didn't think it was a thing, but apparently it is really a thing. So, I don't know. I don't see the draw there. I don't see what the big deal is, really. Fun things about the movie. When the movie opens, Thomas Jane's character is painting in a room, and what he's painting is actually the gunslinger from the Dark Tower series. It's very noticeably the Dark Tower. Also, later on in the grocery store, when he's picking out comics for his son, he actually, I think, goes to pick up a Punisher comic and puts it back down and ends up picking up Hellboy instead. This was a nod to him playing the Punisher and having a falling out, and was actually had been in discussions to play in the second movie, but because those fell through, this was kind of his way of like taking a small jab at the Punisher franchise, and instead giving a nod to his friend Ron Perlman, who stars in the Hellboy movies. And then later on also, there's a book rack that somebody, like a rotating book rack that somebody runs into. If you look really closely, apparently, and I haven't gone back to verify this, but apparently every book on the book rack is a story by Stephen King. So interesting things you can look for. I have to stress, I really, really do love this movie, but I just don't know if I can bring myself to watch it. It's really rough, especially as a parent. All you want to do is protect your child, or children, as the case may be. And there are certain instances where you can just feel so incredibly powerless. And this movie really does a stunning, stunning job of portraying that. And it's rough. So, with that disclaimer being said, if you have children, I'm sorry. Choose not to watch it. That's fine. Or watch it and then go hug your kids really, really closely. If you don't have children, you might not have as big a problem with it. I don't know. I don't know how to explain it. Having kids, it changed me. There were things that didn't bother me before that really, really bother me now. And this movie happens to be one of them. So let me know what you think. Leave me a comment. I will comment back. Let me know how you feel about it. If you have any thoughts on it, I'm open to discussion. Make sure to subscribe. Tell your friends to subscribe. And I will see you all around. Have a good night, everybody.